What's going on, everybody? Coach Rob here, and good morning. Well, it's morning here. It's early Sunday morning, and I promised update videos on my journey towards seeing if I can get back to a relatively competent stage level physique, with the intention on possibly getting back on stage and doing another bodybuilding competition at the ripe young age of 56 years old. And in my previous video, the one before this one, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's only 16 minutes long. It's not the most compelling video in the world, but it does set the stage to what I'm currently going through and what I intend to go through for roughly the next now 22 weeks to see if I can produce a physique worthy of competing, similar to where I was back in 2021 and previously before that back in 2019, where I was in the hardcore throes of competition prep. And as I explained in the previous video, I just really missed the structure and the life of bodybuilding prep, putting everything I have into everything that I do every single day, with the training, with the nutrition, with the recovery, getting the cardio in, and making sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted with everything that I do, because that's what bodybuilding is. And whether you're thinking of competing in a local show, which I know many aren't, but even if the goal is just to produce the best physique, the best aesthetic level that you've ever achieved, then hey, this video series is going to be for you, because the things that I do, the things that a bodybuilder or physique competitor does to get to their ultimate genetic potential visually, to have a stage level or a stage ready physique, it's all going to be covered here in the videos, you know, following this one, all the way up to the point where I will see if I could possibly do this again. And I'm going to be very transparent with you throughout, and the first bit of transparency is going to be, if I can't do it, if I don't think that I am at a level that I feel is worthy of standing toe-to-toe with others in a competition setting, then I won't do it. Or maybe I will, continue on and maybe try it next year. But I want to see if I can do it this year potentially. So I'm acting as if I am in a full throttle competition prep, and it should be relatively entertaining to follow along with you. The entire origination of my YouTube channel was, bodybuilding prep and chronicling that. And here we go. So with the first installment of updates for what I'm doing, we're going to talk about recomp phase. That's where I'm in right now. I'm trying to recomp muscle and recomp a physique that I can continue to work on meticulously over the course of the next roughly 22, 23 weeks to see if I can jump in a fall show somewhere in the October, November range. So that's the goal right now. So when doing this, everything has to be on point. That's what I love about bodybuilding and bodybuilding competition prep. Everything has to be perfect every single day, and I like being in that environment. I know a lot of people are like, not me, man, I'm trying to live my life, dude, and I want to look good and I want to feel good, but what you're going through, man, is a little bit extreme for me, and that's fine. So you can take nuggets of what I'm doing and apply it to yourself and kind of find that cost-benefit ratio of just how deep you want to go relative to what you can gain. And even though I'm all in right now with everything that I do, with the training, with the nutrition, with the cardio, with the recovery, with the supplementation, everything that there is within that, maybe you find your version or your percentage of it, and you're still going to come out with some pretty fantastic results, in my opinion, if you follow along. My mentality has always been, I'm going in at least 90-10 on everything. 90% of my time or better is going to be trying to be as perfect and meticulous as I can possibly be. Pretty much tracking everything that I eat, making sure that macros are exactly as I would want them, Similarly, if one of my coaching clients, what I would throw out there for them, what I would recommend for them is what I'm doing for myself. So, it's going to be an entertaining journey. So as I said, right now I'm in a recomp phase, meaning right now I'm trying to get back the level of muscularity that I had back in 2021. And again, this is kind of compelling because I'm 56 years old. And even though I did compete in my early 50s, I had been competing for several years. So it was kind of still there, and I was just trying to tweak everything and be the best I could possibly be and learn from each competition prep year after year and keep trying to dial it in and be a little bit better every year. And to a great degree, I accomplished that. I also made massive mistakes in 2021 as well, when I went to a national stage and competed in a national competition. I still placed top 6, which still kind of proud of that, but knowing what I know, if I would have done what I truly know, I could have done way better. And I think the 3 years that I've been off and kind of quietly behind the scenes when nobody's looking, keep educating myself and asking more probing questions and digging more into the research and really fine-tuning what I think would have worked better for me. Now I have an opportunity to apply it once more, and I'm blessed to know that I have the opportunity to potentially do this again. As a side note, it's hilarious because in that last video that I was referring to, one thing that kind of blew me away was the overwhelming amount of positive comments from you people. It was super encouraging. It really got me motivated because we all question ourselves, and I'm even questioning myself right now. But I have to remove the negative thoughts in my head and the little bit of body dysmorphia that we all have, and I need to set that aside and just stay focused, stay locked in, keep my foot on the gas, and let's just see what can happen with this. A lot of people always want to know and are curious, and myself included to a degree, is recomp a thing? Can you build back what you had after a long layoff? And even though I was training over the last 3 years, I was delving into other things. I was doing a lot more cardiovascular exercise. I did a ruck challenge where I went and rucked, 32 miles uphill in the North Carolina summer heat. So yeah, I did lose a lot of that muscularity that I had when I was competing, but I also know from being a coach and working with a ton of athletes over 40, some in their 50s, and I'm currently working with a couple people who are trying to compete, one of them in their 60s. So I do know a thing or two about what it takes to be your best over 40. And muscle recomp is a thing. If you've had it before, getting it back takes far less time than if you never had it to begin with. And if you're over 40 or like me, over 50, if you've never had it, it's going to be a tough road putting on a lot of muscle at that age. You can still build muscle, but to the level that I'm trying to bring it back, it's going to be a Herculean task to be sure. But it's also grounded in science, and I've done it before. Back in 2014, after spending many, many years out of the bodybuilding world, I decided to compete, to jump on stage and to try it in my 40s and then ultimately in my 50s. So I went through a bit of a recomp back then and was able to build back a lot of the muscle that I had over the 90s and the early 2000s before I started transitioning into other things. So now I'm doing it all over again at 56 years old. See, recomping muscle or tapping into what's known as muscle memory, well, that's an absolute, true thing that you can do. And I'm experiencing that right now. See, when you build muscle, you also build the muscle nuclei. And the nuclei hangs around for a while, even years. And the body understands where it once was. And when you go back to training and dieting in the manner that you did when you built that muscle, the body remembers and it goes into sort of hyperdrive and starts to build back to where you once were before to a great degree. So Muscle memory is a thing. So that nuclei is just hanging around, and when you start to stimulate hypertrophy through very intense strength training, and you're feeding the muscle properly through the proper nutrition, high protein diet, and making sure you're getting enough nutrients into the body for a time you're going to be eating in a caloric or energy surplus, the body's going to respond relatively quickly because it understands and knows that, hey, I was there before, and let's try to get back there again. So it's definitely a thing. It's like riding a bicycle. You know, you can ride a bicycle for most of your life, not get on a damn bike for years, but then you can hop right back on the damn thing and still pedal around the neighborhood just fine. So that's where I am right now. So back on April the 3rd, I quietly began this contest, or maybe call it non-contest prep or a potential contest prep, but I went all in 100%. So I went back to my super high intensity training protocol 4 days a week. And I'm also taking 3 days off. Obviously, right now, generally I'm taking Wednesday off for recovery purposes, and then I take the weekend off for recovery purposes, and then repeat the 4-day split again the following week. So we've been going super hard in the paint on the training, replicating the same high intensity training that I did all throughout my contest prep years, and even what I went through way back in the 90s in the hardcore golden 90s bodybuilding era. And for now, I'm very pleased with the results. It comes back fairly quickly, and you know, I'm really starting to fill out and recomp that muscle. So on April the 3rd, I was probably 196 pounds. Little soft, little squishy, carrying a little bit more body fat than I wanted to. Over the holidays in 2024, I ate like an asshole. And so when I jumped back in 100% and went after it 100%, I was fairly pleased out of the gate the way things started changing relatively quickly. Now, slightly more than 5 weeks in, I've filled out, I'm getting some of the definition back. I'm actually changing my body composition for the good to a small degree. I'm leaning out a little bit, and I'm definitely getting that muscle fullness back, and I'm building back some of the muscle that I had back in 2021. So now I'm over 200 pounds again, in a good way, and I can start to see the fruits of my labor for sure. The nutrition also has to be super meticulous. I'm consuming somewhere in the area of 2,800 calories a day, which does have me in a slight surplus for my weight and my age and my level of muscularity. And I'm making sure predominantly that the prime focus is on protein. I'm getting, over a gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. And then I'm making up the rest with sort of a moderate fat intake. And then even right now, and this pisses some people off because, I'm definitely chest deep in the carnivore community, I am taking advantage of a greater consumption of carbohydrate right now, because working with people over the years, I do understand that bringing carbohydrate into the mix, especially pre and post workout, goes a long way to stimulating growth. It spares protein and amino acids to do their job, and it definitely gives you the gasoline you need to put everything into your training. You get that little bump in insulin, which is going to be served well for anabolism, to help build muscle. If you're eating most of your carbs pre and post workout, you really don't have to worry about those carbs spilling over and storing as fat. Everybody in the carnivore and keto world thinks they will, and that's just not how it works. You're going to be allowing insulin to shuttle those carbohydrates in the form of glycogen into the working muscles to perform high intensity muscular contractions to get the most out of your workout. You get that nice muscle fullness. It helps with bringing the water into the muscle. It also helps promote recovery, and as I just suggested, it helps promote anabolism. And so I want to take advantage of a little bit of carbohydrate right now to help me recomp that muscle, and it works very, very well. A carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet does work well in terms of changing your body composition. It's great for health and longevity. It corrects a lot of metabolic distress. But as I say all the time in my consultations to people one-on-one, and I do a lot of those, they're very beneficial. to suggest that a small amount of carbohydrate for the metabolically healthy individual that trains really hard in the gym is some kind of a death sentence is just ridiculous. It truly is. So I'm taking advantage of a small amount of carbohydrate. And when I say small, there are some days, because I'm kind of doing some carb cycling, or I am doing some carb cycling, on super heavy training days like back day on Monday or a big heavy leg day on Thursday, I may consume in the upwards of 100 to 140 grams of carbohydrates, most of that broken up into pre and a post-workout meal, along with some lean protein. And then the overwhelming majority of my food earlier in the day and then later in the day after that post-workout meal is predominantly, larger amounts of protein and animal fats. And the combination right now is working out spectacularly for me, and I really enjoy it. On other days where I may be working smaller muscle groups, I may titrate that carbohydrate number down somewhere into the 70 or 80 grams. And then on non-training days, I reduce it quite a bit down to anywhere from 30 to 50 grams. And I elevate my fat intake on those days, and I bring my fat intake up a little higher. And on those hard training days where carbohydrates are higher, I lower the fat component a little bit. And that combination has been working outstanding for me. And it has worked fantastic for many clients that I am working with who are metabolically healthy and training super hard, and those who have a serious aesthetic goal in mind. So, and then obviously I'm doing a little bit of low intensity steady state cardio just to keep the conditioning intact, good for the heart health. And I actually enjoy doing some cardio. It's not a ton of it right now, maybe 30 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week, nothing crazy. Obviously that will get increased way down the line when I'm more into a hard cut phase. And I'll start that probably about 12 to 14 weeks out from my goal. And then there's a hard emphasis on recovery, making sure that I'm getting adequate sleep. I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. If I can catch up a little bit more on the weekends, I do that. And because recovery is when the magic happens, and those people out there who train their asses off, they're dieting perfectly, but they're only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep at night and wonder why nothing's happening. Well, there you go, because recovery is the key to growth. So again, I'm in that recomp phase. I'm triggering that muscle memory. Things are falling back into place. My strength is going up into the gym, and I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling, my overall strength and performance is really elevated, and I'm just enjoying it again. I'm loving being back in the process. And if everything works out, and if I'm able to apply everything that I know from being a coach working with a vast number of physique competitors over the last 30 years, then I'm hoping good things will happen and the result will be very positive. And hopefully I can make a decision many weeks from now and say, hey, I think I can get there. Let's jump in a show sometime later this fall. So that's what's going on right now. I'm filming here in my garage. I call it the bunker. My goal right now is to continue to give you updates, whether I'm in my office at the gym, I'm home on an early Sunday morning down in the damn garage in front of my toolbox. I want to keep you informed as to what I'm doing. So these updates will be coming every single week. And you can be sure this time that it will be a steady flow of content. So, I don't want to take up too much time today. I don't want to make these things too long. So I appreciate your support. Hit the subscribe button. You know all the things. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And hey, I do coaching. So there was never been a better time to work with me as a coach or book a consultation, because I am so highly motivated right now because of what I'm going through, and to be able to share my knowledge of what I'm going through with you and your journey would be an awesome thing. So please check that out, robgoodwinfitness.com. Soon all of my online presence will be funneled into one website. We're working on that. So check it out. Leave a comment, share this with somebody who might be interested, and stay tuned because there'll be another video coming literally within a few days. So I am out.